Village communities were known to engage in agriculture for the livelihood. These communities had close kinship ties and restricting their marital relationships among their own caste groups, and emphasis on traditions was of very high priority. Agriculture was known as a main occupation in villages. However, not all villages were self-sufficient like we have seen in session 1. The village system in India has been studied by various sociologists, and in this session we will look at the views of S.C. Dube and A.R. Desai. S.C. Dube was an internationally known social scientist, and he was very elemental in bringing sociology to India. Professor Dube has taught social anthropology and sociology at universities in India and abroad. He was born in current day Madhya Pradesh, India. He did his master's degree in political science from Nagpur University and joined as a lecturer, beginning his professional career at Hislop College in Nagpur, and later joined the Department of Political Sciences at the University of Lucknow. Dube was a director of the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies in Simla from 1972 to 77. Along with being the director, he also served as a president of the Indian Sociological Society from 1975 to 76. He then became the Vice Chancellor at Jammu University from 1978 to 1980. He later became the National Fellow at the Indian Council of Social Sciences Research from 1980 to 83. According to S.C. Dube, the village or the rural areas function as a social structure that does not function in isolation and that affects the family, religion and communities. In the village, we can witness both cooperation and unrest and also social mobility. Villages have their techniques and mechanisms to solve conflicts and resolve issues. All items are not available in the villages and people need to depend on the neighboring villages and towns for these products. Villages usually have a weekly market where sellers from various places will come and exhibit their products for sale. These places of economic exchange are a place of socialization and acquainting themselves with other people, improving their social ties and networks. These relationships could culminate with getting brides from various places and yet being endogamous. Marriages always happen within the community, but not necessarily in the same village. The kinship network was widespread across urban centers and other villages. India was known for its villages and the traditions and lack of modernity. However, India was also known for its urban cities. Cities were well developed in terms of irrigation, drainage and modern lifestyle. Ancient urban civilization like the Indus Valley existed quite early in Indian history. These urban flourishing cities were located in various parts of the country. Foreign travelers have mentioned these cities in their writings and narrations. These cities were either administrative capitals, some were religious places of importance, and some excelled in trade and commerce. Each village had their own set of relationships and circles of interaction within the community or jati and interconnections between these jatis. The line of separation between these jatis within the village could be discussed as the relationships between people of different jatis and also relationships of people in the same jati. The relationship between jatis could also be discussed as a village panchayat, as these panchayats have people from different jatis residing in the same village. The panchayat plays an important role in matters governing the village. Each jati is usually associated with a profession. However, some professions can be done by members of other community and is more like an open job occupation, while the others are closed professions which can be done only by members of a particular caste group, and no other caste group members are eligible to practice that profession. There is a sense of loyalty and respect to the village families, and hence payment for service can be either in cash or kind, and it is commonly known as the Jajmani system in sociology. The name Jajmani system was initially used to describe the client-patron relationship in Uttar Pradesh in a village. This system can be understood by the relationship between the rich landlords and the other jatis who were offering their services to the landlords. However, this relationship of exchange of services can also happen among people of the similar economic status, and hence it would be difficult to point out who is the patron or the rich and who is the client or service giver, as both parties benefit from the mutual exchange of services. The examples cited by S.C. Dube are on how, for the agriculture, the carpenter makes the ploughshares and the other agricultural implements, and the potter provides the pots for storage of food grains, and the chamar or mochi, also known as a cobbler, provides the harness. Hence, we have people from different jatis involved in jobs that are mutually benefiting people from different communities. Artisans and craftsmen usually exchange their services among themselves. In the village, usually there are two types of panchayat. One is the jati panchayat and the other is the village panchayat. The jati panchayat has members of all castes residing in the village. If a caste has few members, then they will join the nearby village panchayat. The headman is usually in the position held based on hereditary or is elected by consensus of the people in the village. The jati panchayat hears property and family disputes, while disputes between two jatis are brought to the village panchayat. In larger villages, there are times that the statutory panchayat which delivers justice in minor cases. Solidarity in the village is seen through the patterns of interactions between families across generations or groups that come together for some common concern or conflicts. Once the issue is resolved and settled, the people go back to their own kinship groups. Villages consist of networks of services and interactions between the same jati and village, irrespective of the distance between towns and villages. Stereotypes of both the village and town coexist. Villages are considered ignorant and simple, while people from the town are not trustworthy and not reliable. Irrespective of these stereotypes, the interaction between village people and town people continue on a regular basis in terms of the market, village panchayat. These people also join together to celebrate regional festivals. People living in the towns do visit the village at least once annually and do visit and participate on auspicious occasions and even to mourn for the death of a loved one. The concept of sending money to the home starts becoming less as the frequency of visits also starts reducing. With increase in the rural urban contacts and connections, the convent and public school concept also started to change, with more people preferring to go to the convent schools. Studying in these schools has started to gain more status. Through the writings of S.C. Dube, we can see how the rural urban understanding continues to be understood as tradition versus modern. Through this understanding, in reality, is not always perfect, and the lines of differences between rural and urban has started becoming blurred and has started changing the meaning itself. We will now look at another theorist who has looked at the Indian village system. We will look at A.R. Desai. A.R. Desai was born on the 16th of April in Gujarat. His father, Ramlal Desai, was a civil servant in the princely states of Baroda. A.R. Desai travelled with his father, which has left a deep impression on his mind. His father wrote many novels depicting the lives of peasants, which was influential and inspirational for the youth movements which led to social transformation. His father was also a great admirer of Gandhi and his learnings of socialism. A.R. Desai grew with all these influences and started taking active interest in the world with the intention of transforming the world. In 1947, he married Neera Desai, who played a crucial and pioneering role in the growth of women's studies in India. Their son, Meher Desai, was a leading human rights lawyer practicing in Mumbai. A.R. Desai began his career as a lecturer in Siddharth College in Mumbai in the 1946. He joined the University of Mumbai in the Department of Sociology in 1951 and he became the professor and head of the department in 1969 and resigned from the department in 1976. Desai was appointed as Senior Fellow and a National Fellow in the Indian Council of Social Science Research from 1973 to 75 and 81 to 85 respectively. He was a president of the Indian Sociological Society in 80-81 and the Gujarat Sociological Society in 88-90. He was the only Indian sociologist who was active in politics. He was a committed Marxian since his early undergraduate days and remained one till his death in 1994. A.R. Desai has spoken about the structure of social systems in India. Desai analyzed the various forces that was affecting the basic structure of the Indian society. His views were that of the nationalist movements. The political forces of the British rule were instrumental in shaping India during and later parts of the 19th century. The culture of the nation that was emerging was not homogeneous and it showed very distinct evidences of class stratification. The structure of the Indian society was shaped due to the impact of modern means of transportation and modernization. The various dimensions of the colonial rule has played a major role in restructuring the Indian society that was based on agriculture and handicrafts. And with the rise in education, the caste system, a new social order, was coming into existence. The central idea of the caste and class started to modify the changing social, economic and political forces post-independence.